Armed with some of the best 2022 video recording technologies, here's a dash camera model that is going to stay strong for years. Viofo's latest is a 3-channel car DVR called T130. Let's inspect. Hey, great to meet you! So happy that we are back on the road with great companion to keep record of our road adventures and, if needed, to serve as a proof of ours or someone else's actions. Something I sincerely wish you to never have to experience, but since I'm speaking from the standpoint of someone who actually did such a thing, I can always say that it's better to be on the safe side. Video surveillance is these days everywhere, just don't forget that in certain countries only the government and selected institutions have the right to do it. So if you are about to buy a dash camera and then travel abroad, make sure to check the regulations so that you avoid possible complications or even fines. Viofo. This is a brand which, if you're into dash cameras, have certainly heard about before. They continue to be among the best value choices when it comes to high-end, feature-rich products that provide amazing video quality and won't break your budget. Or at least, not that much, given the fact that this 3-channel dash camera costs $239 without some of the extra accessories you may order, like a Bluetooth remote or CPL filter. But even the basic pack is quite a great deal, because although just one single entity, it actually is a stack of 3 cameras, one recording on the front, another one recording the car's interior, and the third one responsible for covering the rear side. In that regard, if you install it in a taxi, Uber, van or even a bus, it's gonna be ideal because it shows not only the traffic on the outside, but also records the behavior of the passengers inside the car. I've already reviewed another 3-channel dashcam on the channel, and clearly there are so many devices to choose from. Therefore, in this video I'm going to focus on evaluating all the pros and the cons from the standpoint of someone owning and using T130 by Viofo. We'll also compare the footage quality to a twice more expensive dashcam, and let's find out if the results are gonna surprise you. Let's unbox first. From the pack we already know GPS, infrared night vision, QHD and Sony image sensors, which are part of the highlights. Honestly, I was surprised to see all of these components fitting inside this single box, so that's pretty good utilization of the space. Here is the main unit. Cylindrical form, bunch of buttons, very good feeling when you touch it, apparently build quality is excellent, which well suits the price tag. One thing you're gonna notice right away, the interior camera has the ability to roll and pan, which allows it to cover a wide field of view and can easily be set to record events on the outside of the car. I've noticed that in countries with driving on the right side, it's perfect because if a police officer pulls you over, you can actually capture video during the checkup. Here's the rear module, which we will also install, and it also lets you adjust the angle. A charger, card reader, installation tool, replacement adhesive tapes, you're all set to perform a problem-free installation. As usual in my reviews, before the practical part, I'm gonna cover the theoretical, or in this case, the technical. That's right, specs time! 5-megapixel Sony main image sensor, an OmniVision 2-megapixel sensor for the interior camera, a 2-megapixel Sony Starvis on the back, Type-C input port, built-in supercapacitor, GPS support, a bunch of control buttons, micro SD slot for cards with capacity of up to 256 gigs, Wi-Fi, therefore smartphone app support. Yes, these are the specs in a nutshell. If deeper technical details are not your thing, let me give a simpler version. The main camera records in 1440p resolution. This is more than the standard Full HD offered by the interior and the rear module. The image sensors are among the best in their class, with the car interior model being quite unique with 4 infrared lights, so that even at complete darkness, you can distinguish what happens inside the car, or create some horror movies. Next major topic is the installation. Most dash cameras these days are easy to install, all components here stay inside the car's cabin, so there's nothing tricky, but if you prefer someone with experience to handle it, or get the installation of a hard-wire kit, then you may check for some local car electricians. I'm gonna show you the simplest use case, where we will use the car's cigar lighter port as a source for the charger, and I underline that in most cases this option will not let you use the parking mode, which means that Viofo T130 is gonna record only when the engine is powered on. Take some time, do the planning, which is the most suitable location for the dashcam. Important is that it doesn't disturb you while you're driving, and also think about how you will bring the cables from the cigar lighter port to the camera, and also how to wire the rear module. Then simply put all of these plans in motion. All the tasks should not take you more than 15 minutes if you have the preparation right, and even if you do it for the first time. Well, good to meet you guys and girls, and it's really nice to be able to see each other, because right now, besides testing the microphone quality of the Viofo T130, we're also trying out the 2 megapixel internal module with the infrared enable. There are 4 very small infrared LEDs, which are guaranteeing this really good low light footage, which also looks a little bit creepy. But now, let me know how it feels, and also, what do you think about the microphone quality? Next comes the configuration. Each one of the buttons has a role. Some of them even act differently if you short or long press them. It's much more fun from the smartphone app, of course, but before checking how it works, let's get to see and analyze some footage. Sharp, crisp, detailed. One of the first things that caught my attention is the fact that the image is not too distorted, probably because it's just 140 degrees on the front. The main image sensor with its wide aperture lens is a beast. The combination between this chipset and the image sensor is really strong, and the sensor in particular is featured in many other successful dashcams from 70mi, DDPi and many others. The rear camera is also on par with the expectations. What stunned me the most is how well it handles dynamic range, and even at night some plates may be readable even if the car lights are pointing towards it. It's remarkable. Apparently there's a lot more noise than the usual, but since clarity and details is what we're mostly seeking for, that's okay for a dashcam. The inside module performance is also to be praised. It can work with or without the infrared LEDs. Even if it's night, things are gonna be fine. As usual, I had to put it side by side with my primary dashcam. Results, as you can notice, are quite decent. Note that the DR900S by Blackview, which we're comparing to, is a 4K dashcam, while Viofo T130 output is recorded in Full HD. An even battle in terms of resolution, but you must know that image quality is a set of components, including sensor size, bitrate, pixel size, post-processing and many others. So it's not too unexpected that the 1080p footage from Viofo is on par with the 4K from Blackview. Also, since the sensor has tolerable pixel density, it may be slightly better choice for low light performance. If you need to review the footage, to adjust angles or simply to reconfigure, just use the smartphone app. Viofo used the same piece of software for controlling most of their Wi-Fi enabled dashcams, so it already looks polished and supports quite many functions. In the settings tab, there are a lot of things that you can fine-tune. Really useful are the options to rotate or mirror the footage from any of the sources, so even if you install a unit upside down, it can still record the correct aspect ratio. Before sharing with you what I think about the T130 by Viofo, time to talk about the drawbacks. The thickness of the rear camera cable is my primary complaint. It feels like coaxial wire from an old-school cable TV. Also, I noticed that the dashcam seems to require a bit more than the usual amount of power, so you better use the original charger or get a hardwire kit. No 5G Wi-Fi supported, and there is no display, which, given the fact you need only for the configuration and can be fully replaced by the app, maybe it's not a real disadvantage. So my conclusion is that Viofo T130 is a very solid choice for a dash camera, with very wide temperature operation range, without any hidden risks given its build quality and usage of supercapacitor instead of a battery, and the absolutely stunning video performance. If the budget asked is not a road blocker, then yes, I can easily recommend this model of a dash camera, which had zero problems while I was using it and seems to be a very reliable and reasonable choice. If you have some more info to contribute with or follow-up questions, please reach out via the comment section below the video. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Hopefully all that you've seen is useful and makes good sense. Drive safely, take good care. Gotta see you in the next episode.